President Biden and Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell clarifying their positions on some tax increases. The president says that they're necessary to create a fair economy. McConnell says that they would effectively kill any chance of a sweeping infrastructure deal that I guess would have to be bipartisan. Joining us now to talk more about the issue is former U.S. Congresswoman Donna Edwards and former Chief of Staff to Vice President Pence, Mark Short. He is now a partner at the Coalition to Protect American Workers. Congresswoman, I'll just start with you. Do you think that the ends are justified or do justify the means, and that if they want to do it big and do it with tax increases, they shouldn't really even try to do it with Republicans? Just go ahead and admit you're going to do reconciliation. Are you fine with that?
Well, I don't think we're quite there yet, but I would be fine with it if it comes to a point where we realize that Republicans are not going to come on board with an infrastructure plan that is broad, that speaks to the needs of the American people. I mean, I think that, you know, what the president has said around the tax code, it's not like this is news. The president had, even through his campaign, talked about putting some fairness into the tax system, and the proposals around capital gains and corporate taxes do that, in addition to creating the income that we need, the revenue that we need in order to make investments in our infrastructure, which will redound to the benefit of the American people and also to the economy. So I think the president is on the right track here. Continue to negotiate to the extent possible with Republicans, but be prepared to do it on their own. It's time to get it done. The American people agree with it.
So, Mark, my question to you would be, is it the details of the plan itself, the infrastructure and what we're calling infrastructure, what we're deciding to spend it on, the size of it? Is that what you have a problem with? Or is it the tax increases and the way that's being done that you have more of a problem with, or all of the above?
Well, Joe, I think it's a combination of factors. I think when we talk about infrastructure, as you know, roughly $320 billion that the Biden plan proposes actually for roads and bridges and ports. The vast majority of it is a bunch of other social programs. And I think our concern really on the tax increases is the number of jobs that you'll lose. When we were able to reduce the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21 in 2017, we created over 5 million new jobs in just under 2 years before the pandemic hit. The pandemic has cost this country about 8.5 million jobs. As you're just beginning to come out of a pandemic, why in the world you'd want to raise taxes doesn't make any sense. You're going to continue to chase jobs overseas. And the reality is we had significant foreign direct investment come back into the United States in 2018, 2019 of $319 billion and $330 billion because of the lower corporate rate. If you're simply going to begin raising taxes again, you're going to chase those investments offshore, and you're going to chase jobs offshore.
So, Congresswoman, I'm looking at a couple of different facts here when you talk about fairness. I'm just wondering what you mean by that. And if the top 1% currently pay 40% of the total tax bill, and I'm talking about income tax, and if the top 10% pay 60%, that's unfair? Or what do you mean by fair? We need to make it fair. Can you actually define what that means? Or it's always so nebulous for me. What does that mean it needs to be fair? Who should be paying?
Well, let's look at corporate tax rates. Corporate tax rates, as the president has proposed, right now they're sitting at 21%. That's the low. I'm a baby boomer, and that's the lowest corporate tax rate in my lifetime. And so we've got to bring this back to some means of normalcy, even at 28, 29%, which it came down from. I think it's time to raise those corporate taxes. Where we'll settle in terms of a negotiation, both with Democrats and Republicans, I'm not really clear, but it's not going to be at 21%. Capital gains tax. The president's proposals around capital gains would affect only about 1.3% actually of filers, 500,000 people out of a nation of 340 million. So I think that would be fair. making sure that the marginal rates that corporations pay is in sync, so that we don't have corporations that are continue to make profits but end up paying zero in taxes. That's what I mean about fairness, and then investing that into what benefits all of us: roads and bridges, childcare, education, healthcare. These are things that are going to strengthen our economy over the long term.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.